Before we get to you guys and Anthony, puff piece. New York Times. All of a sudden, the New York Times loves Marjorie Taylor Greene. You know, they used to call her QAnon, and used to call her conspiracy therapist and a white national Christian, and all this stuff. The New York Times hated her guts. Now, all of a sudden, she is the darling of the New York Times. They love her. They got posters of her all over their office. A 1,500-word puff piece on her yesterday because now she's broke with Trump. She's broke with the movement. Now, all of a sudden, she is the darling of the New York Times. I read that piece. First of all, went on forever, Jim. Nice piece, good for Marjorie. In fact, my son, Jack, actually texted her last night, and she texted her back. My son, my older son, as everyone knows, is a progressive. Of course, the little guy is a Trump supporter, right of Attila the Hun. So they're on opposite ends, but he texted her, what a nice article, and I really enjoyed getting to know you. It's like the New York Times, man. All of a sudden, now she's going on The View. Yay, she's going to get a big contract there. And Jim, you're running for her seat. We'll get to you in a minute. But listen, guys, that puff piece on her in the New York Times was one of the silliest pieces I've ever read from a New York Times writer in my life. It was so ridiculous. It's like, now that you hate Trump, we love you. I mean, you've got to be kidding me. But look, this is what we're up against in 2026. I tell everybody this: lace them up and lace them tight. Before we get to the panel and the Peach Crew, Anthony, want to take your call on New Year's Eve from Florida. You're on with John and the Peach Crew. Anthony, go ahead, unload.
Good morning, John. Peach Crew, good morning. I've been on vacation for the last 3 weeks. Good morning. I've been on vacation just like you. But I can tell you, a year in kind of, introspective, like your last guest, I applaud you, John, for staying on everybody, saying, like, you know what, that the time for being nice is over. I in respect to the ladies there, I thank you very much for what you've done. But the way things have been done, they're not getting done right. It's just like we need, in terms of like the Godfather, we need wartime concierges. Like the nicey nice just ain't getting it done. So like you look at Trump, his allies like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Elise Stefanik and Tina Peters, look what's happening to them. They're not being supported. They're not being helped. The base is scattered. I still have problems. My family is still suffering. And meanwhile, he's, every time Bibi runs his butt down to Mar-a-Lago, Trump snaps to like some bellboy. Or every time Zelensky comes down asking for more money, every time the little pimp from Ukraine comes down, I have it planned. The American people, the base, we don't care about Israel. We don't care about Ukraine. Can we do America once in a while? All that money we spent on Operation Midnight Hammer, billions of dollars in fuel and resources and time and bombs, it could have paid for health care, groceries, health care. Can we get some health care done? Can we get some legislation done? Can we get something done? Can we get something codified done? What has the GOP done?
The answer is no.
Nothing.
Listen, lace them up and lace them tight. Here's what I'm going to say, Anthony. And I had another caller said the same thing earlier today. No one understands your frustration more than me. 2026, the niceties are over. No more Mr. Nice Guy. We got to start calling everybody out, because if we don't do it, our base is done, and we're going to get blown out in the midterms. We're going to get blown out. We're losing everything. You turn around, we're losing. It doesn't matter what it is. We're losing everything. So I agree with you there. Here's what I'm asking. Let's give Trump 90 days. Let's give him the first quarter. Let's see what happens. He's promising us he's going to refocus on domestic policy starting January 2nd, 2026 on Friday. Let's see what happens, right? Another Zelensky, another Netanyahu trying to get peace. I get it. But let's see what happens in the first quarter. I'm going to give him that. But look, I'm not happy. I'm not happy with what Taylor Greene did. I think saying that the president has no faith. The hell did she look in his soul? Like, who the hell died and left her my priest? That pissed me off. I got to tell you, right there. Who are you to tell me or President Trump about what his faith is? Right? You got your own problems, lady. So that piece, here's why I'm starting the show with this piece in the Times, ladies and Jim, because that epitomizes what we're faced with in 2026. This is what the fake news is going to, it's not even news, it's just fake. This is what the fake propagandists are going to do for 12 months in order to win these midterms. I said this before. If I came on today and broke with Trump, I'd be on MSNBC, MS Now, CNN, New York Times, Washington Post, LA Times. I'd be the hero. I'd be making $50,000 a day in social media if I did this, right? This is what this about. This is what this is about now. I thought the puff piece on her was embarrassing. I thought it was a joke, and I thought some of the things she said were gross, like trying to tell me what President Trump's faith is. So, Anthony, let's give him 90 days. Let's get to the Peach crew and get right into it. I'm going to start with Jim Tully. Jim, I'm on fire today. I'm hot. He's pissed me off. Because look, I read the New York Times every day, okay? I got to see what the other side says. They got some good writers. But that was hey, Marjorie Taylor Greene now hates Trump, therefore she's our hero. You're running for her seat. I just want to get your reaction to that, and then I'll open it up.
Good morning, John. Ladies, good to see everybody.
Hi.
I'm just as upset as everybody. Our president, and in the mighty 14th Congressional District, our Congresswoman. This split out of the blue is something I can't even begin to think about. They want us to think about it because it's all about promotion and drama. That's what's gotten us to this point in our country is drama. And I have to say that the president's going to president, and the Congresswoman, soon to be the citizen Marjorie Taylor Greene, they're going to do what they're going to do. But we still have one another and a district, a state, and a nation to take care of. And that water has passed the bridge, and we're looking upstream at what we can do next. So I can't be confused like the New York Times and other mainstream fake media wants me to be, and stand still.
What was your role with Marjorie Taylor Greene?
I was a district representative, so I was on the ground in the district, talking to constituents and business owners, government officials about what was taking place.
On the ground. Now, also in this race is her former chief of staff or current chief of staff, right? What's his name again?
Who?
Marjorie's?
I think it was, you're referring to Jim.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, not chief of staff, John. District representative.
But you were in the district. You were not in D.C. in her office. You were in the district, Jim, talking to constituents.
Right here. I was right here in Georgia.
And so I can tell you, Jim has been a conservative fighter in the trenches and the grassroots. I think now more candidates in the 14th have announced there's a total of, if I'm not mistaken, Jackie, there's a total of 20 now that are in it. Reagan Box moved from, my understanding is, because she's going to be on the show one of these Wednesdays. Reagan Box is now a candidate in the 14th. She actually lives in the 14th. You had someone else announce, I think, Monday. In races, politics, especially hotly contested races, it's political war. When you have a lot of candidates, the 14th has attracted so much attention and so many candidates. You're not looking at just political war against each other. You're looking at thermonuclear war.
When is Jackie? Hi, Sally. Happy New Year.
New Year.
How's your son?
Doing great. Doing great.
Good. It's good to see you, Sally.
Good to see you.
Jackie, 20 candidates. When is the first voting? What day is that? The first round.
Well, first of all, Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Good to see you all, and I hope you had a wonderful Christmas. And hi, Jim.
Hey, Jackie.
I served as the 14th Congressional District GOP first vice with Jim Tully as the chairman, the job that I have now, and I was honored to work with him. And he is a true patriot. Um, if that matters to anybody, he's a true patriot and a hard worker. And not endorsing you, but just letting everybody know that. So the dates are tentative until the governor issues a writ of election. So we're going off of the date of March 17th with a runoff of April 14th.
So March 17th is going to be, if the governor signs off on that, 3/17 would be the first wave of election runoff in April. But you got 20 candidates. Like, how do you have a debate? How do you have a forum? How do you have anything with 20 candidates? How do you even?
Yeah, it's absurd. So let me be very clear about this. This is important. Georgia law currently allows jungle primaries in
Right.
special elections where Democrats and Republicans are all thrown into the same ballot,
Right.
and the outcome can be decided by whoever knows how to game the system best, right? In low turnout races, which special elections typically are,
Right.
Democrats can and do jump into Republican leaning districts,
Right.
vote strategically, and influence outcomes that don't reflect the will of the
Right.
Republican voters.
Right.
That's not persuasion. That's not winning hearts and minds. That's procedural sneakiness.
Right.
And voters see it for
Okay,
exactly
but it is what it is,
is.
Jackie. I don't want to relitigate how this works. Wasting my
Well,
time.
some people
Here's
might
what it
need to
is.
know that.
It is okay. It is what it is. It's a jungle
Right.
primary, and there's one Democratic candidate, 20 Republicans. So the one Democratic candidate is going to get in the runoff. They're not going to get over 50%. You got 20 candidates bringing their people out. No way the Democrat gets over 50. So it's going to be a runoff, and the Republican is going to win,
Yeah.
right? So this really isn't about gaming the system. My question is, you got 20 Republicans. How do you even determine? Like, I would love to go down there and host a debate. How would you even determine who to get in?
We're going to host a debate, by the way, after qualifying. We're going to, and we're working on a candidate viability tool, and we're going to be looking at a lot of different factors that weigh into that. How much money they've raised, if they filed everything correctly, a lot of things like that. So we're going to be determining that. How many candidates can be in the forum that the 14th
Are you going to put
district.
that criteria out and make it transparent criteria?
We're going to give it to the individual candidates.
Why don't you put it out publicly?
Well, we're still working on it. It's a work in progress.
It's going to come under criticism. It's like remember when the Republicans in 2016, they had like 90 candidates running, Jim Gilmore and all these people, and Lindsey Graham, and they had the first tier debate and the second tier. Well, Reince Priebus at the time published clear criteria to get in the first wave of the debate. Here's how much money you have to have raised. Here's what percentage you have to have, etc. And he put it out, and nobody could complain because he put it out ahead of time, not after the fact.
We're actually planning to put all the candidates and their information and their websites on the 14th district page on Facebook. That's kind of the hub of information to kind of keep everybody calm, block out the noise, just come to us, and we're going to give you unbiased information that tells you that information. We have to perfect it first, because I know better than to put it out there before it's gone through scrutiny and votes and all the things. So unlike what people think, I have a lot of people coming to me saying, why are you letting this happen? Why is the Republican Party allowing this? And I can promise you, if I were in charge, this would not be happening. This is ridiculous.
Allowing what? People filed. They filed.
Allowing 4 million candidates. But people think it's up to us.
You can't stop somebody from filing.
No.
I feel like getting the signatures of filing and put up a fee. You can't stop me because you're the chairman.
Exactly. But that's what I want to let everybody know. It's Georgia
Well, they
law.
don't understand the system. All right, I want
Exactly.
to get back to Jim Tully, and then we'll go. We got a lot to go over here. So, Jim, uh, that Marjorie Taylor Greene piece pissed me off. Okay, tell me, is it just me? What was your reaction to that?
Um, John, to be honest with you, I can't, like I said earlier, I can't focus on those things. I read that piece
Jim, come on,
and
answer the call.
I saw a lot of manipulation in there. Um, Marjorie Taylor Greene is a formidable opponent when it comes to media. She was formidable in her position as Congresswoman for the 14th Congressional District. She holds her own, and you'll wait and see a response from her, I'm sure, if there's one to be had.
Response? She's going to hang it up on her wall. It was a puff piece. There's no response. Come on, Jim. All right, I'm going to get to Sally. Sally, you read the piece. What was your reaction?
It was long. It was a very long piece. That was one of my things. One of the things I would like to commend. Jim is a friend of mine. He's worked hard, and that kind of thing. But I would like to commend Jim for jumping out there early. I think maybe you were the first one to actually announce Jim, so I want to commend you for that. There was no quibbling. There was no question. There was no, should I do this? Let me take a poll. So
No,
congratulations on being
no.
out there out in the first, among the first, if not the first. I think you
Th-
were the first.
Thank you, Sally.
That was tremendous. And, John, to your point, I did read the piece yesterday. Um, it was long, and I have a lot of feelings about it. I have always respected the fact that Marjorie Taylor Greene voted with President Trump 98% of the time, that she used her own money to support President Trump. I'm the eternal optimist. I would like to think that, they're going to kiss and make up at some point in time, and that's what I'm praying for.
I
They're
can
not,
tell
they're
you
not going to kiss and make up. Come on,
that's
what
not going
planet
to
do you live
happen.
on? Did you read some of the things she said about it? Are you kidding me? Come on, Sally. All right, let me get to Celeste. Somebody make sense out of this. Okay. What was
Good
your
morning,
reaction?
everyone.
Hey,
Listen,
Celeste,
good morning, Mr. Telly.
good to see you.
Okay, listen. I, for one, I wish Marjorie Taylor Greene had done this privately. If she had a problem with President Trump, address it with him privately. They had a relationship that was long term. And so, based on that relationship, it should have been something that should have been handled privately, not in the public sector. Not in the public sector. And so, for me, I am very disappointed. It shows lack of thought. For me, it appears that she's going off of emotions, and she's coming off, quite frankly, as a woman scorned.
Yep.
As a woman scorned,
Absolutely.
to put it quite frankly. And it's not a good look for an elected representative at all. It sets the stage for where we are right now. Drama and chaos is not what Georgia needs. Georgia has had enough of that. So for me, I would that she be quiet and take some time and deal with the hurt that whatever has occurred between her and President Trump, deal with it privately, but not on the world stage, and not to be used by the Democratic Party to tear down the Republican Party. And that's what's happening. And it's creating distractions where we don't need them to be.
Absolutely.
If you have
That's right.
against someone, go to them and deal with it.
Very
I
well
don't want to hear
said.
you. I don't want to hear you.
Debbie,
I agree with that.
Go ahead.
I can tell you what Celestine say, great minds think alike. Right after the very public Marjorie Taylor Greene stepped down, I was contacted, she was going after Trump. I was contacted by a reporter with the New Yorker magazine. And he asked me, I had known him for a while. He said, "What are your thoughts?" And I said, "Well, you're going to find out that it reminds me of hell, the old saying, hell hath no fury like a woman scorned." And Trump scorned her when he correctly told her, and just he didn't ask her not to run or anything. The only thing he did was send her the polls that showed she could not win a statewide race.
Right.
And it started from there. She didn't have a problem with any of his policy until he said, you know, he was not going to support her for statewide office. And I think it was published, New Yorker just published it, and in their latest magazine, my comments. And when the reporter called me, he said, "Yeah, you were right." As I said, this is exactly what's going on.
Yes. Yes.
I agree with that. If I may, Marjorie Taylor Greene took her congressional oath of office on January 3rd, 2021. Members of Congress swear to defend the Constitution, and there's no clause that says unless we get in an argument with President Trump or unless he doesn't support me for everything that I want to do. So I would have appreciated. I have probably been Marjorie Taylor Greene's biggest supporter, outspoken supporter, and I would have appreciated her to finish her term and not throw the 14th district into complete and total chaos where it is. No matter what anybody says, it's feasible. Yeah. It's humanly possible for a Democrat to take this seat. It is. Just because we don't think it's going to happen doesn't mean it's not going to happen. It could happen, and she threw us into that situation. So to say I'm happy with that and the things that she continues to say, you know, she was talking about the toxic environment in politics and how she feels guilty for doing that. Equates to she feels guilty for defending President Trump because she's continuing the toxicity. She is. And I have supported her, and I appreciate what she did for us. I would ask her to please support the 14th district, how we supported her, and maybe, you know, maybe not do the toxicity continually.
I'm sorry, I have a quick question, Jim. Because of the fact that you worked with Marjorie, and you're now a candidate for that position, how do you feel like, number one, that you separate yourself for that, and number two, to bring back the unity in the 14th district? If you were to win this race, how do you envision bringing people back together in the wake of what's happened?
Well, the division is created by this resignation. It is the door that flung open and made everybody wonder what was going on in their lives. I am simply focused on the people of the district. The seat belongs to the people. It doesn't belong to the president. It doesn't belong to the future citizen, Marjorie Taylor Greene. It belongs to the people of this district. I announced before Thanksgiving because I wanted them to know at their dinner tables with their families and their friends that there was somebody there that cared, that knows the district, that's worked in the district for almost 20 years, and was ready to pick up that staff, that standard, and not allow a ne'er-do-well to use it for personal gain or for a performative agenda. We've got plenty of that. What we don't have is faith, family, and foundational patriotism that we need to bring back. Georgia is the linchpin to the nation. If we don't win this special election, if we don't win this midterm, we're going to lose the country, and it's over for conservative America, for a republic governed America. That's the long and short of it. And that's where we are today. There's nothing else. There's no Second Amendment. There's no border. There's nothing else. It is to preserve the nation.
You forgot one thing to mention, Jim, and I'm sure it's I'm just kidding with you, but the fraud from the slogans. I mean, Can you believe that? I mean,
that is unbelievable.
I mean, come on. I mean, look.
Let's just bring it back home, Debbie. Let's talk about fraud in Fulton County elections. Okay?
Yes.
I mean, you pick your poison. We got it everywhere.
Yeah, and by the way, Sally was just appointed to the state election board.
Isn't she
So
something?
congrats to her. And it's just there's 20 candidates that have announced now. Jim or Jackie answer this. We know Jim's not dropping out, but do you think some of the candidates that have announced early will decide when it comes time for qualifying, paying their qualifying fee, that they will decide not to get involved in that very hotly contested primary? What are your thoughts?
I think that's probably what's going to happen. I'm meeting with each one individually before they're allowed to participate in the candidate forum that we will be holding and televising. I'm hoping and praying that some of them drop out because it's hard to make decisions. It's hard for people to make decisions when there's so many choices. The closer we get to the election, we're going to be doing everything that we can to make the field a little easier to navigate. And just like the 2020 election, so many bad things happened, but so many good things happened because of it too. I know I got involved in politics because of that. Although I had been, I thought I was active and wonderful because I supported the right president each time. I think this situation is going to be Romans 28 situation where all things work together. I think I believe it's gonna bring out the best in people because I'm already seeing people that were at war last year at the convention, locking arms and working together to get the vote
Oh,
out.
really?
So
Oh,
I
walking
am.
arms? What,
Yeah.
give me an example of that because
I mean,
I'm,
I'm not
still,
gonna
I'm
say
still
I
names.
getting
haven't
texts
seen
from
it.
I need to
I'm still
know.
getting texts from the David Cross people calling me names and saying that he won the race and Debbie stood in front of a microphone or something. I'm still getting those
Well,
texts. So I
I'm
would
not
like to
getting
see
those.
who's
So
locked
so
arms there.
I don't know. I'm not getting those anymore. And we're getting along, and we're calling on all the soldiers, even if we don't like each other sometimes. We have to. We are on the same side, and we do not want a Democrat taking the seat. So I think we've got our work cut out for us. But if I may take a second, I officially call on the Georgia legislature to end jungle primaries and special elections and restore partisan nominations that protect the will of the voters. This is a problem we shouldn't be dealing with in this way. It shouldn't be as bad as it is. I think we're just one of like 4 or 5 states that handle it this way. So Republicans should choose Republican nominees. Democrats should choose Democrat nominees. Period. Most states already do this because it keeps elections clear, honest, and aligned with voter intent. Closing this loophole doesn't silence anyone; it stops the games, and restores trust in the process. So I think we need to work on that. I would love for any state house members or senators to give me a call and let's do this. Let's start this process on day one because this doesn't need to. Let's learn
Makes
from
sense.
from complicated things like this and let's fix this. It's something they can do fairly simply. So
Jim,
So to
how do you come in ahead of Colton Moore and be the first Republican in the runoff? How do you do? Because that's really the favorite in my mind. Is Moore's got the name ID, state senator from the area. How do you beat Moore coming number one? Because the Democrat's going to be number two. That's without question. How do you beat Moore?
Well, John, Senator Moore has left his Senate seat vulnerable, which is not something that Georgians appreciate. The district doesn't appreciate that. For a political promotion. Jim didn't do that. Jim was just fine representing the people of the district to the congressional office. This is nothing that any of us asked for, and I'm responding purely out of necessity, not because I'm getting a promotion. This is not easy. It's not for the faint of heart. So Colton, and what he's done is created a cavalcade of faults that Democrats can capitalize on. It's ridiculous. It's part and parcel to the 20 other people that have decided that they were going to be a congressman.
Jim, how much money have you raised so far? I'm interested. I was looking at FEC reports for the first district, and I haven't looked at them for the 14th. How much money? I mean, in a hotly contested primary like this, you're going to need a ton of money to get your message out to the 95% of Georgia primary voters that are not active within the Republican Party.
Oh, gosh, that's the truth. So, like we've talked about throughout the show, we weren't expecting this, and the donor people in Georgia and in the district, they were fully invested in the midterm, in the governor's race, lieutenant governor's race, and so on and so forth. And all of a sudden, here comes a whole bunch of candidates with their hands out, and they don't want to be involved in this dramatic occurrence. So what we're hearing is, after the first of the year, after qualifying, when the crowd thins out, because $5,300 is a chunk of change to come up with to keep moving, then we'll start having those conversations. So to answer your question, Debbie, I've got a little money, just enough to keep us moving along, and I'm in it for the people, not for profit. Okay.
Well, to your point, Jim, I mean, it's not just the 5,300 qualifying for the special election, but then you got to turn around for the primary and come up with another $5,300.
Yeah, let's just make it 11 grand.
Yeah, so that's $11,000, and there are some candidates that I don't think they have that kind of money to even deal with the qualifying issues.
That's true.
I was looking at some of the FEC reports for the first congressional district to see if, to see who was raising money there. I saw where, Candace Taylor, I mean, she's very well known down there, but as of the September 30th report, the FEC report, she had only raised $28,000 at the September 30th, and she had probably $8,000 on hand. Contrast that with Jim Kingston, who has raised $1.3 million, and he has $1.1 million on hand. He can get his message out. But in the first district, with it being so hotly contested, Candace, I mean, even though she's a conservative, she checks all the marks, she's not going to be able to get her message out. And so,
yeah, that's why she's nuts. Okay, let's get to come on, man. Come on. She's nuttier than a Christmas.
I agree, but Jim is who I'm supporting.
I know you always got a
Jim
candidate
Kingston.
in this race, and look, I like Jim Kingston too. I think he's going to win. He's got the money, but we're not talking about that race right now. Yeah, I love how Debbie always weaves her candidates in. It's a great pivot. She weaves them in out of nowhere. And anyway, Jim, I appreciate the fact that you're struggling to raise money. I mean, you got a governor's and Senate race sucking everything up, so I get that. It's not going to be easy there with 20 candidates. So I wouldn't hold that as a barometer. Should be a very interesting race, but to me, Moore's the guy to beat. You got to come in, you got to beat him, and it's not even coming in second. You got to beat him.
Yeah,
because that makes it harder.
John, I have a personal relationship with the district.
Come in first or second, or for first, probably.
Yeah, the top two move.
Yeah,
and we're thinking that the Democrat will be one of the top two. So you got to win. That's the end of the story. John, I've have a personal relationship with the district in all walks of life, not just a political relationship. My involvement here goes far beyond just politics. I've been involved in local issues, whether it's women and children, education, veterans, Blue Star, Gold Star families, for years. So I'm banking on my personal relationship and my ability to reach people. on a front porch level.
I think that's powerful. Let's get to some callers. Mel in Saratoga, New York. You're with the Peach Crew, Mel. Go ahead. Go ahead. Happy New Year.
Yeah, yes. Good morning, young ladies, and Happy New Year to everyone, and good morning to you, John. Until you get George Soros and his son Alex Soros out of politics with their corrupt money and their corrupt behavior, elections in this country are going to be so hard for Republicans to capitalize on. It's just not going to ever end. And so these guys are put out of the political arena and behind bars, and things will things will come back to honesty. But I want to agree. Follow up with Anthony. I believe the young gentleman was his name Anthony. I believe earlier.
Anthony.
Yeah. I think President Trump is taking his time because he knows that the American their ability to remember is they have an attention span 6 to 7 seconds less than a goldfish. So I think at the last minute for him to regain his base, I don't think he really lost a lot of us, but get back all of what may have peeled off a little bit. But he's going to have to do a Houdini and free Pam Bondi from the handcuffs that she's got on her, because things are happening. If they're happening, they're not happening out in the open. It might be behind doors, but what good is that? We the people need to see what's happening here. Who's being held accountable? Who's being summoned to come into court, testify, or be prosecuted, and be looking at
Again,
that.
you want
40 years
action.
is not life behind bars.
We're not getting any. I can turn this over to Celeste. Thank you, Mel. Thank you for the call and Happy New Year.
Take care. Happy New Year.
Thank you. Mel wants action, Celeste.
We all do.
Listen, there are a lot of people who want action, who are disenchanted with what's happening in the United States from both sides of the political aisle. I think a lot of our elected officials have forgotten who they serve. They serve the people. And until such time as the people remember that they have the power to recall candidates. If they're not doing what they're supposed to do, let's do that. But oftentimes people want to sit on the couch and you want to go ahead and you want to talk about those things that you see wrong, but there is no action behind it. And they also need to understand that in order to run for political office, it costs money. So you have a lot of people who are jumping up, wanting to run for political office and not having the money in order to go ahead and actually win. And so oftentimes now we're finding that we're getting the people that you don't want in office. And those people that are the ones that are actually caring about the people and doing the things, not oftentimes, but they don't have the money to go ahead and run a campaign. And so for those people who are saying you want action, we have people in different communities who are standing, like myself, other people, Debbie Dooley, Sally Grubbs, Jackie. We're standing, but oftentimes you see the same people over and over again when you're asking for folks to come in and help. We need to change that. You can go ahead and talk all doggone day long, but when it comes time for the rubber to meet the road, where are those people?
That's right.
Where are those people? It is the same people over and over again. So if you want action, show up at your Republican Party and ask the things that they need for you to do.
All right, Debbie.
Your local.
Get to Debbie.
Amen.
Debbie.
Yes.
Unfortunately, our candidate, Derek Dooley, is still stuck at 15%. You can't see him to move the needle. Nice guy. I like him. My candidate, I think, is the only one that can beat Ossoff, who's going to raise and spend $1 billion. But he's stuck in the mud at 15%. He's gone nowhere since the same polls come out. He's still at 15%. When are we going to see Derek Dooley make a move here?
I think you'll see it within the next month. I know what they're doing. What they've been doing now is getting leadership and working on getting county leadership. That's what they're focused on. Derek's been going everywhere. He's starting to address everything, a lot more things. I think you're going to see him by February. You're going to see him a big difference in the polls with him, and he's not going down. But the big thing, keep in mind, with all of these polls coming out about that race, is the 35 to 38% are still undecided. After all this time, seeing all of this, they're still undecided about the race. And the other candidates are stagnant as well.
But you have to admit that he's not caught on yet, right? I mean, you have to admit
not yet, but he will. Just wait for the shock and awe that's coming. That's all I can tell you.
It's tough to get from 15%. Though I would think by now he'd be up in the 20s. I tell you what surprised me, Sally Grubbs, is, and I saw Buddy Carter the other day at some event. I go to a lot. I cannot remember where, but I saw him and his wife in DC here. You know, Buddy's at 25%, and he's creeped up. He was at like 20, now he's up to 25. Buddy Carter's in a pretty good position here. I never would have thunk this, but I don't know. Derek, he just hasn't caught on. Sally, Buddy's doing better than I thought. Does Buddy have a shot here?
I mean, I think Buddy has a shot. One thing about Buddy is he's personable, and he goes to all these events. He has been showing up at events, and unlikely events. I mean, events that are not necessarily well publicized, or GOP events, and just kind of random. I mean, Buddy is putting in the work. I have to give him props for that. He is definitely putting in the work.
What do you think, Jackie? I mean, I'm a Derek Dooley supporter, but I mean, he's stuck in the mud.
Well, I think you have to realize that it's early days yet, even though we in the party know about all the candidates and who's running their campaigns and all those details. Yeah. The general public, this is not what they eat and breathe and sleep like we do. Right. So it's their story to tell, and I think it's going to be an interesting race.
Well, we'll see what happens. I don't know. I'd like to see him make a move a little bit sooner. I just haven't seen a lot.
Well,
okay, let's shift gears here. We got a panel. So Brian Kemp's going to run for president. He's going to go to Iowa. He's going to run for president. I'm now convinced of that. So is Glenn Youngkin. So you got two governors in at least, many more. I'm going to go right to Sally, and we're going to go around the horn. Does Brian Kemp have any chance of wrestling the nomination away from some of these other candidates, including J.D. Vance? Debbie Dooley.
I think he does. I think right now, from what I am witnessing on the ground in the grassroots, is that there's a lot of apprehension about J.D. Vance. I know a lot of folks like Marco Rubio. I think Governor Kemp has a lane that will be open to him. And in 2028, I think that lane is there, open, because there's a lot of folks some folks are on the MAGA supporters totally on board with J.D. Vance, but there's some that are not. They're looking at other candidates, and I'm one of those people that are looking for another candidate.
I agree with you, Debbie. Sometimes we agree, sometimes we don't. As you know, I think your Derek
Roll Tide
is like, is just paper. But I agree with you. I think Kemp's got a lane.
Yeah.
Based on what he's done in Georgia, and the fact that he's won that state and he's got a 63% popularity rating. I think he's got a lane, and I wouldn't count him out. Celeste James?
Yeah, I for one, I've always admired the governor. I like him. I think he's done an incredible job here in Georgia. And I do believe that come 2028, there is an opportunity for him.
I agree. Jackie Harling, District 14 chair. Does Brian Kemp, could he win Iowa, New Hampshire? Could he be the nominee?
You know what? I told everybody when I was being interviewed about the Marjorie Trump feud that I had faith that, like a mom and dad separated, they were going to get back together. So I have learned my lesson to not speculate about things I have no power over. What I'm laser focused on is this special election to replace Marjorie Taylor Greene, and that's what I'm.
Jim,
That is what
Jim,
is in my DNA right now.
it's
So
fine if you're not going to answer the question, but I can't spend time on it. So no disrespect meant, but if you're not going to answer the question, I got to go to the next person. Jim.
I'm good with that.
You know, there's a lot of people in Georgia that really, really like Brian Kemp. They were confused why he didn't run for Senate. But if what you're enlightening me to, a possible presidential run, that would explain why he didn't take up that Senate race. Brian Kemp's done a lot of great things for Georgia. And to Celeste's point, when she said that this inside circle that is aware of all the political goings on, that's the only downfall that Brian Kemp might have in the state, is maybe an election integrity issue about a special session back in 2020. Those would be the only downfalls. And there's only a few people in Georgia that understand that.
That's a good point, Jim. You go to Iowa, like nobody's thinking about what special session you didn't do in 2020.
Right.
I mean, it's such a small sliver,
That's
and it
right.
was so long ago. It's like, whatever, Trump won. Okay, Sally?
You know what? I have learned that there are many lanes open for many different types of people, and I think Governor Kemp would certainly appeal to a lot of people, just like, JD Vance appeals to a lot of people, just like Marco, take, for example, Marco Rubio. He's doing a fantastic job as Secretary of State. People who would not have considered Marco Rubio, back in 2016, are loving what he's doing. So you never know what's going to happen. And, if the governor decides to do that, I wish him the best of luck.
All right, so we're going to go around the room. I want a simple yes or no answer, not a prediction, just a simple, soft question. If Brian Kemp runs for president, is there a lane where he could be the nominee? Debbie Dooley, yes or no?
Yes.
Celeste James?
Yes.
Jackie Harling?
Yes.
That was a meek answer.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Yes.
Say yes.
Yes.
Okay. Jim Tully?
Yes.
Sally Grubbs?
Yes.
Godzilla? Absolutely. Definitely yes.
Yeah.
This thing is wide open, man. This whole Vance thing. Look, I like JD, and I'd be happy if he was a nominee, but I'm just giving you my perspective.
I agree.
Not that I'm not backing him or I'm backing somebody else, but this thing is wide open.
Yep.
And we don't know what's going to happen between now and 28. I think Brian Kemp has a definite lane. And I think, to be honest with you guys, of all the candidates that could get in, I think he would be one of the most fascinating because of his record. And the problem with DeSantis is, I mean, I like him as governor, but like when he ran for president, like nobody liked the guy. It's kind of like Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz would go somewhere and lose votes. I mean, they don't like him. I mean, I don't know why. I mean, I like him. He's a nice enough guy, but whatever he did, people just didn't like the guy. Maybe that'll change. I don't know, but Cruz is running, Kemp is running, Youngkin's running, God knows who else, Vance, obviously, and many, many others. It's going to be fun. Jim Tully, I like your message. Very, very powerful. Thank you for joining us. Jim, people want to follow your campaign. Where do they go?
They can find my Facebook page, Jim Tully for Georgia, is the best place. And I would love for folks to come and ask me questions and get on Team Tully. And this is a pure grassroots effort. This is front porch politics that we are lacking, not only in Georgia, but across the nation. That's that 95% that Debbie referred to that are unengaged. This is important.
Front porch politics. You mind if I steal that?
Certainly.
All right, I'm gonna
Remind
steal it.
them to come find Jim Tully, though, John.
You got my. Everybody heard Jim gave me
Yeah.
permission to steal that line.
Front porch
politics.
politics, baby. That's where
Like
it's at.
all lines I get from people, I just steal them and say they're my own. Right? I've been doing it forever. Thank you, Jim. Hey, want to thank our panel. Very lively show. Debbie Dooley, Celeste James, Jackie Harling, Jim Tully, Sally Grubbs. Great to see you all. Happy New Year to you all. Very lively peek. We will see you next week. Michael Patrick Leahy next. Keep it right here.